Welcome into Training Ground Dispatch here on the SDH Network. I'm Madison Cruz reporting from the Children's Healthcare of Atlanta Training Ground with the voice of Atlanta United and Jason Longshore as we get you ready for Game 3 where Atlanta United goes on the road to face Inter Miami in the MLS Cup playoffs. Now in media today, Brad Guzan had the opportunity to talk to media, and so here's what he had to say.
Listen, we're excited to go into this. I think everyone probably had written us off before the regular season had finished. And so to be in this position, I know we're all enjoying this moment. You guys can see in training, right? The looseness, the laughing, the camaraderie, the joking. And you need that because come Saturday, it's going to be all business.
Brad, for you, is there a moment, was there a message, a tactic where this team got more comfortable without the ball?
Yeah, I don't know if there was a moment. I think it was almost a realization of, hey, we're okay if we don't have the ball. And at this level, you're not going to have the ball for 90-plus minutes. That you're just not. That's not how the game works. And so I think having that understanding that we are okay and we're solid and they're entitled to have it. And when they have it, they might get a shot off. They might create opportunities or whatnot. But how do we limit the severity of those opportunities? How do we kind of manage this situation without the ball? And I think we've been a lot better in those situations over the last few weeks.
Really interesting stuff from Brad Guzan, especially heading into this Game 3, about handling not having possession when Atlanta United has been known to be a very much possession-based team.
Yeah, look, this team has shifted, and they've had to based off what they have to work with right now. They have less of the possession, but they're still creating dangerous chances. So that's been an evolution under Rob Valentino and his staff, and I think it's interesting hearing from Brad about how it's not so much like one aha moment in, yeah, we can do this. It's just kind of that consistent belief growing that we're all right without the ball. We can defend and we can still impact the game the other way. I think a lot of times when we talk about not having the ball, we think that comes from being defensive and playing either negatively or fearfully. And I don't think that's the case here. I think it's honestly this team has figured out how to be very solid without the ball, how to defend, how to keep that shape. But then when they get it, it's very intentional about what they do. And I think you're seeing those chances materialize. So cool to hear Brad's perspective of it, seeing all of that happen in front of him.
Interim head coach Rob Valentino also talked to media today, and here's what he had to say. How hard is it to prepare to go up against the team that you played 3 times?
It's hard with the personnel that they have. Like, they're just a fantastic team. I've said it every time I stand in front of you, and they've got great players, great coach, and they've got a great way of playing. They were the best team throughout the regular season, and they proved that time and time again. So it's being hyper alert in every single moment. We've touched on this a lot throughout the year and different opponents we played, but in this time of the year in the playoffs, and it can be one moment that changes the course of your season. So that's a big part of it. Like playing them 3 times or however many times we've actually played them by the end of it, I don't know how much advantage it gives you or disadvantage, or it's just more preparation. Every scenario is different. Every game that we'll have played against them, I'm sure there will have been a different lineup. So it's just living in the moment and taking the opportunity that we get.
How did you rate the matchup in Game 2 between Saba and Jordi Alba, and how important is that in your team's success?
Yeah, it was, again, another fantastic player. Saba was playing in a different position. He played there, obviously, in the later stages, or as we had to make the subs in Miami. There was a focus that he had to have on him attacking, and then on the vice versa on the other side, like he had to go and attack at him or at their left side. So it was a back and forth matchup for sure. Saba's got a lot of quality for us. He's been very consistent in delivering in some key moments here. He's a team player. So it's about how he can help and contribute to the team. And it'll be the same for me going into the next game, wherever he plays, what position.
Interim head coach Rob Valentino has done a phenomenal job, I think, especially in this back half of the season, really improving, I think, the morale of the group and just everything heading into this Inter Miami matchup when, to a lot of people, it's like a David Goliath situation going in and facing Inter Miami.
Yeah, I think the whole staff has done an amazing job, and Rob's at the head of that. But the support that he's gotten from Liam Curran and Carl Robinson and Matt Lowry and then the rest of the support staff, it's been critical. And, us having the chance to see training, you see moments where Matt is very vocal in making a coaching point. You see moments where Carl is very vocal. You see moments where Rob is very vocal. It's good to see how that group works together. And I think that group has had to play a variety of different roles in building this team's confidence going forward. Look, now you're in a different spot. I think this team is confident. I think they do feel very good about the way that they play. So how can you take that past being confident and being solid and being secure to being in control, to being in a game on the road against the best team in league history and being in control of the moment? Can't wait to see how that plays out on Saturday.
I also loved his response to what I asked him about how difficult it is to prepare to face a team 3 times in a row, especially with how unique this playoff picture is. Facing Inter Miami 3 times, it could be an advantage, disadvantage. We don't know. I mean, because you see him so many times.
Yeah, you know what they're going to do. And I think with Miami, they are interesting in the fact that they've done different things throughout the season based off having Lionel Messi, based off having Luis Suarez. And when they haven't had them, they've looked different. Well, they're going to be playing on Saturday. You know that. Now, Sergio Busquets, there are some questions there. How does that change? Yannick Bright, there's some questions there. That can change the midfield. That can have trickle-down effects. But by now, you know where Messi wants to go. You know where Suarez wants to get comfortable on the field. You know how Jordi Alba wants to attack, and that was a big point of the question I asked about that Jordi Alba matchup that I think is critical to the success for either team when you get to Saturday night. But you know all that, you still want to find different things in how you attack them and how you defend them that you've either learned from as the series has gone on or something you haven't tried yet that might bring you more success. And I think that's going to be sometimes from an offensive perspective. You might see something a little bit different. You might see something that is building on what's worked. But also from a defensive perspective, which I think has been very, very good in limiting Miami's opportunities. You look at their 3 goals. One off of a mistake, a crazy situation with Brad, one off of a turnover in your defensive third in the first 2 minutes of the match, and one a rocket from Jordi Alba. You'll take that when you're playing Miami. If that's the 3 goals you concede in 2 games and they're from those ways, you'll take that. Can you be even better in this one?
Rob Valentino also talked about his support system, especially heading into this Game 3, and especially just throughout the season. Doug Robertson asked him that question, and here's what he had to say.
I do some guided meditation. Sometimes that's, I would say, consistently on a daily basis. Not always. I do my best to get there, but there's guided meditation, sometimes cold plunge, whether that's like a fad, but I usually do it after a workout, something like that. I talk a lot, so I talk to people. That's really important. I mean, I've got a great support system in my family. My wife has been my biggest supporter since I was 16 years old, so she's seen the highs, the lows, and everything in between. My kids don't listen all the time anyway, so sometimes you're just talking to talk. But yeah, they give me a sounding board, and it's not at this moment. It's not the anxiety. It's just like I'm excited. Like I'm happy that we're in this position. I'm excited to play the game, so I'm sure the players are the same. Like, I want Saturday night to come because these are the moments we live for. We love playing under the lights, whether it's home, whether it's away. I mean, last Saturday night was amazing. So I'm looking forward to something like that in a different environment.
I mean, I feel like we say it all the time. A support system is always huge, especially when you go into a situation like this, and even in just life in general. Having people who can back you and who you can talk to, it just helps alleviate a lot of that anxiety and stress.
Yeah, it's both sides of it. I think sometimes to talk about what you're going through, and also sometimes to completely talk about something else. And Rob has talked about this consistently. I think you're hearing someone who is very comfortable in their own skin, very comfortable in the role that they are in and how they are handling it. And one of the reasons why is because of that support system that he talks about.
Alrighty, you can watch the match on MLS Season Pass on Saturday at 8 p.m. or you can listen to it on Star 94 or the Odyssey app. Pre-game coverage is going to start at 7 p.m. and then at 8 p.m., Mike and Jason will have the call for you.